Let's talk a little bit about the Advantage Act. You'd mentioned it earlier. And, you know, Senator Rich Pauls, he always gets on the floor and will say things like, let's get rid of all the exemptions. If we got rid of all the exemptions for everybody, we'd have billions of dollars and we would have no problem. What do you think of something like that? I mean, I know that's probably not going to happen. It's too radical. There's too many lobbyists and so on. But is there a way of simplifying our tax structure and the way we incentivize businesses?
Well, first of all, one of the problems with the incentive program that we have is existing businesses are using that program to grow themselves within the state. The idea was to bring other businesses, outside businesses, into the state.
Exactly.
And so it doesn't do what it was meant to do. The second thing is there's no transparency in it. I mean, I was shocked in July. We had a $19 million revenue shortfall in corporate income tax. Well, the reason was because one of the Advantage program corporations took their money.
Right.
And the governor didn't see it coming. He hadn't planned for it. He didn't know it was coming. He was just flummoxed. And all of a sudden we have a 548% loss of revenue in the corporate structure, or in the corporate tax revenues that are supposed to come in. You know, to me, not knowing that is incredible. I don't know how you plan. I mean, any working person sitting at home knows how much money they got coming in and how much money they got going out.
Well, and it's not just at the state level; it's at the city levels. And it's we had a city in southwest Nebraska. I don't remember if it was Plattsmouth, Tecumseh, which one, that all of a sudden, and I know from Lincoln City Council, every month we would have a column on what the Advantage Act was taking out and we wouldn't see it coming. We had no idea it was coming.
Right.
It'd be hundreds of thousands of dollars. But what it's doing, Lincoln maybe can handle that to a certain degree, but some small towns, it's killing them.
No, that's true. Well, the other piece of that, and I'll give you one more quick one, is, you know, Scotts Bluff stole a business from Hastings. So, you know, ask yourself if that makes sense. We're looting each other to try to make the good life better.
Yeah.
And, you know, it just doesn't make sense. So one of the things we have to do is work some kind of transparency into the process. And we have to have some kind of accountability so that we know that we're getting the bang for our buck that we're expecting to get. If you can't plan your revenues to match your expenditures, that's a death knell for almost any government.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you've got to be able to work the balance sheet. And any working family in Nebraska will tell you the same thing.
Exactly. Would you, in the Advantage Act, would you favor tying wages to jobs? You mentioned $16,000 jobs. Would you be willing to tie a living wage, for example, for families to jobs created?
I think that makes sense. I think that if you do that, you are actually meeting what we're trying to do with the Advantage Act, which is provide well-paying jobs for people. It's not just volume. You know, I mean, volume only gets you so far. If you've got somebody who's making a living wage, they are then contributing on the income tax side. Versus if they're making a wage that they can't live at, they're actually more of a drain on the state's resources.
They totally are. If they can't make a living and they want to feed their children and they're getting food stamps, they're getting aid to dependent children and so on.
Right.
And what people often don't understand is we're talking about children. We're not talking about healthy men out there in the street. We're talking about children in what we do. And I would love to go into more and more of that, but we're running out of time, and it's been a pleasure talking with you today. Would you want to talk a little bit about your website before we close?
Oh, sure. People go to meisterforgovernor.com. We have a new feature on there that, to my knowledge, no other political campaign in the United States is doing. And it's called Ask Mike. And you click on a button, you can ask me a question directly. Every night before I go to bed, that's the last thing I do, is I go through my emails and I answer all those questions. Sometimes we just get comments. Sometimes we just get ideas. It's wide open. It's like a town hall meeting, but on a virtual plane. And
transparency. What a novel idea.
Yeah, but yeah. So I answer those questions. It goes back to my staff. They're only supposed to check for typos. We've had one argument over one answer. I said, I don't care. Post it. And so
are the answers available on your website?
The answers are available. Actually, the most current answers are there, and then we've actually categorized the answers that we've done since then. So
very cool. In 1 minute, can you tell us about your running mate, Ann Boyle?
In 1 minute, I don't know if you can talk about Ann Boyle in 1 minute. You know, Ann's got 40 years of public service experience. She's an amazing woman. She brings to the table that urban piece that I am not thought of as having. I mean, I went to school in Creighton for 7 years. I know Omaha. I've got family there. But Ann brings a different perspective of Omaha than I have living in Scottsbluff.
Well, she's also very consumer-oriented. I mean, she's on the Public Service Commission and done a lot of good things.
Well, she's like me. We understand that Democrats are about people, and we take care of people. You know, it's funny because I think most Nebraskans, if they really dug into their souls and looked hard, they would be Democrats. They wouldn't be Republicans because they understand that their neighbor is more important than their wallet.
Exactly, and that's exactly what Nebraskans think about. Well, thank you very much for joining us today, and I look forward to calling you Governor Meister.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.